Story time. A girl named Akira Kendrick sent me this story, and the background of it is that her dad was very abusive to her mother, and her mother got custody of Akira, and her dad was not happy about that. Anyway, so Akira was with her aunt and her cousins at her grandmother's house, all on her mother's side, and her dad stops by to say hello. And Akira's outside playing with her cousin, and her dad comes up to her and grabs her arm and says, "Do you want to go to Walmart with me?" And at the time, she's only 7, so all she hears is toy aisle, so she says, "Yes, let's go." So they get in the car, they head to Walmart, she gets some really nice pom-poms, and then he says, "Okay, let's go back to your grandmother's house." So he starts driving and he gets on the highway, and Akira knows that her grandmother's house is right around the corner from Walmart, so he does not need to get on the highway. So she says, "Dad, where are we going?" And he gets really mad and says, "Shut up, sit down, it does not matter." So Akira's in the back seat, she's really scared, and she just shuts her mouth. So after being in the car for a while, they eventually arrived at this really old, abandoned, beat up house. And when they walk in, Akira sees about 25 people and she does not know any of them. Her dad brings her to a room, puts her in a little closet, throws her some toys, and her mom says, "Play." Part 2 is coming right now. Part 2 of Akira's dad literally kidnapping her. So when they get to the house, Akira is really scared. She doesn't know any of these 25 people. Her dad brings her to a room, throws her in a closet, puts some toys in there and says play. So after about an hour of being in a little closet with some toys, she finally decides to get up and go look for her dad. So she opens the door and starts looking around, and there's no one in the house. There's not even a single trace of somebody ever being there. So of course she starts freaking out and crying. She doesn't know where she is. She's so far away from her grandmother's house, and she doesn't have a phone. And so eventually, after 3 hours, she hears somebody. She looks up and her dad is standing there, and he says, "Come on, let's go, the cops are outside." So basically Akira's aunt called the cops and they had a search warrant for him. They ended up finding her dad and they said to him, "If you don't take us to her, you will go to jail." And obviously from what I just said, he finally took them to her at this random old abandoned house and they found her. And they ended up putting him in jail anyways, because why not? 2 years in jail and 1 year on probation. Don't steal children, people. Don't steal them.
I made my teacher cry. Story time. When I was in 2nd grade, I had this teacher and she was the devil, and we're gonna name her Miss Jackson. And the reason I call her a devil is because she would say really mean things to me to my face. She would be like, "Ty, stop talking like that, you sound like a little girl." Or, "Your favorite color can't be pink, you have to choose one of the boy colors." And since I was so young, I didn't understand how serious these things were, and I didn't know I can get her in trouble. And I would go home sad every single day. Eventually my mom noticed and she asked me what was wrong. So I told her some of the things that Miss Jackson would say to me, and my mom was mad. And my mom was like, "The next time she says something to you, say something rude back, and if you get in trouble, I'll handle her from there." So I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." Now, Miss Jackson was a heavy lady, so I knew if I said something rude to her, it would be about her weight. Though we don't body shame around here. We don't do that, okay? So I'm in school eating lunch with my friends who happen to be girls, and Miss Jackson comes up to me and she's like, "Shouldn't you be eating with the boys?" So I looked at her and I was like, "Shouldn't you be eating a salad?" And the lunchroom started laughing, and then she started crying.
My daughter Savannah is the CEO of faking illness to get out of school. So when she does not feel like being there, she will go to the nurse's office and complain to them that she is really not feeling good so that they call me and I have to go get her. Well, one day after this happens, I walk into the administrative office and everybody is really concerned because Savannah is sitting in a chair so dramatically "Hi, Mom." And when I saw her, I burst out laughing. I was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And everybody looked at me like I was some really bad mom, "Oh my God, why aren't you more concerned?" But as we were walking out, she was walking really slow and actually didn't look good. So even I was a little concerned. I was like, "Oh my God, honey, are you okay?" Until we got to the car when Savannah looks at me and goes, "You know what, Mom? I feel better now." And I was like, "Savannah, are you serious?" And she's like, "Mom, do you maybe want to go to Starbucks and have a girls' day?" And I was like, "Honey, what kind of question is that? You know I do."